welcome back to the table. 'Tis I, your favorite drag queen turned GM and novice world builder. Look, I'm trying. It's really hard. Doing it by yourself, I know why people have teams of people to build worlds. Shelly Von Miller, that's the name. That's who I am. But what a launch of the season, huh? How did you like episode 1? I hope you did, because episode 2 is just as good. I'm just saying. But for episode 2, we have a guest that I admire in the TTRPG space, and I've only got to meet them once in person, only because we keep missing each other at cons that we're always at. They are a BAFTA US member, a TTRPG writer and consultant, and someone I keep missing at cons, like I said. Welcome to the table, Tanya, aka Cypher of Tyr. Hello, hello.
Hello, I'm so glad to be here. Glad we're finally getting to hang out virtually and then hopefully in person again the next time we're at a con.
Yes. By the way, I still owe you your bracelet that I think for TwitchCon in 2024, and I kept forgetting for other things. Hey, it's okay. That's on me. But I wanted to say, I don't know if you realize this, but I was in a stream of yours a couple of years ago with Brian Gray and Omega Jones. I think y'all were doing a charity stream where y'all were giving away prizes. This was like in 2020.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a while ago.
I'm like, that was 6 years ago. Jeez.
Yeah, I can't believe it's 6 years ago. But I won my very first dice set from that stream. And, well, it's been downhill from there. I mean,
so
besides the dice gobbling, but that set of dice sent me down a road of getting into TTRPGs and the actual play community. So I wanted to say thank you.
You're welcome. That
unintentionally, unintentionally, you made the podcast happen.
Cool. And that makes me really happy because I am a dice goblin. They're not around me because otherwise it would just be like 10 minutes of dice falling off my desk. Oh yeah. I became the person of disposable income and me plus dice and shiny things. I am a crow.
Yeah. Same. If I had more money, I'd probably get more dice. Or the one thing I like is whenever things I back have a dice option, I'm like, yes, I will upgrade for the dice. Give me your dice.
Absolutely.
But for those who don't know you, please introduce yourself.
So my name's Tanya, also known as Cypher of Tyr. Longtime nerd, longtime gamer. I started playing D&D with first edition. I'm actually a year older than D&D itself. And, I am also played video games in arcade years old. Love storytelling, always wanted to be a writer when I grew up, a novelist, and, between loving stories, loving storytelling, that's what drew me into tabletop, but also I've had a chance to be in the video game world as well. Was working on a Wonder Woman game. Sadly, that is not happening because, well, I would like to say what I want to say, but non-disparagement agreements. But we were unfortunately closed last year, so that's not happening. But, still have my foot in kind of both worlds, trying to get back into / stay into games. And, I've done actual plays, Rivals Waterdeep, Black Dice Society. We did a actual play, thanks to Twitch's backing, for Into the Motherlands. And hopefully one day this year you will get the physical book, if not the PDF, because, well, life has been lifing. And, just internet ne'er-do-well on occasion, and I'm just very loud and yell about a lot of things, and for some reason people listen to me on occasion.
That happens. Hey, most of the time, it's great things that you're yelling about. So it's just like, I say great things. It's like great things to hear and to actually be like, okay, yeah, I should probably be paying attention to this. Mm-hmm. I will make mental note. Yes, make that happen. But you said you got started in first edition. Like, what is your origin story with first edition and just TTRPGs in general?
Well, since I was a year old when D&D came out, I played it later, but, first edition was out there for a while. And also, I'm a survivor of the Satanic Panic. My mother would very much was, D&D is the devil, this isn't something we do, as in we being black people. So, I had to do like a lot of us had to do with video games, which was sneak around and go play it. And, and then, second edition came out. I was actually in a very long running home game of 3.5 and actually then kind of fell out of D&D after that and came back to it with fifth edition. Shout out to Greg Tito, formerly of Wizards, who followed my other work with I Need Diverse Games and reached out and said, hey, I'm putting together a show to kind of showcase fifth edition, because the big thing was they wanted to show anyone could play and anyone could learn to play. So even though the cast wound up being all POC, that was not the intent of the show when it got put together. And with fifth edition, yeah, I was a voracious reader. I'm sorry, first edition. Snuck around, got my hands on a copy, played with a bunch of people. And then I learned how some people have no personality outside of being part of a table or running a table. And so that put me off a little bit of playing. And it wasn't even like a racial thing at first. But I'm sure you've met people where their life is tabletop and they have no interest outside of it and they cannot function outside of it. And that's all they can and want to do. And it's a chore to be around them. And I experienced the DM that wants to give you homework as if you are studying for a PhD when you are just supposed to be playing a fun game. Oh yeah, I had a DM that would give us like 20, 30 page PDFs and want us to basically have read this between sessions. And I was like, this is more than I'm doing in college right now. How about no? And then I did encounter racism with people. There's like, the assumption that people like us, air quote, don't do this. That's a very white hobby. And it is a very white hobby. It's also a very expensive hobby. So I didn't really get I didn't get deeper into D&D again until 5th edition and being on Rivals and having access to stuff because we were on the show. Because had we not been on that show, I may or may not have come back to D&D because source books are not cheap. Dice are not cheap. And now we live in an era of bespoke everything. Some dice cost a few $100s, and disposable income or not, I have a line of what I'll spend money on. Because at a certain point, when you spend enough money on something, you don't want it to leave the house, which defeats the purpose of buying really nice things. But yeah, I'm someone who's played for a long time, but I will never call myself like a grognard or anything. Like, I'm just old in the sense of I'm an old head when it comes to it, but I have adapted with each edition.
I think adaptability is the one thing that a lot of people miss out on. It's like, yeah, we get it. You've played for a very long time. You like 3.5. I feel like that's the one edition people are like, oh, I will never play 5th edition. I will never play the newest edition. 3.5 is the best. 4th edition is horrible.
And to them, it's like, enjoy. The books aren't out of print. Just...
Yeah. You can get them somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and this is something that, joining Rivals, being part of that crew, and then doing very public play of D&D, it puts you up to scrutiny, and then the people who, like you said, they're like, 3.5 is the best. That is it. And what I've discovered is the people who, like, hold on to these rules and this version of D&D, like, maybe that was your formative D&D experience. And I get it. However, they didn't... Like, somewhere you can get 3.5. I'm sure a PDF is somewhere. But don't discount it. And if you never want to touch the new edition, cool. Enjoy. I mean, I know people who are still running advanced D&D. That's their thing. Go forth and enjoy. My problem always comes with well, this is the best, and this is the only one that should ever exist, and we're back to the, we should go back to the good old days. I'm like, oh, you mean when people like me and like you are not welcome at the table? when we didn't see ourselves in these books and these actual plays and other spaces? That's what you mean? Cool. Good to know I'm not sitting at a table with you ever.
Perfect. Amazing. I mean, on that, it's telling. I think they also bypass the idea of. How do I want to approach this without, you know what? I'll just fucking say it. This is my podcast. If you don't fucking like it, get over it. It's one of those things of like, I don't like having this, insert whatever type, playing my games because they ruin all the fun with DI and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I think if you realize it, we're enriching, like, including people of diverse backgrounds, whether they be femmes or queer or black and brown, indigenous people, they enhance the story so you're able to tell a better story. And I mean, on that, how important is it? Because you've been at some amazing tables with some amazing people and some not amazing people after the fact, it comes out, that how important is it to tell those diverse stories and make sure that people are seen in, not in your characters, but like that they can take that idea of this person is playing this game, I can play this game, this feels right.
It's important, but the main thing to remember is D&D is fantasy. If I can have a talking dragon, if we can have kobolds, if we can have dwarves that for some reason people keep making sound fucking Scottish, why can someone who's brown not exist? And it's like, and people always go, well, I don't want politics in my game. And it's like, I'm not putting politics in your game. I want to exist. Because let's be real, and this is just, if you want to play the historical accuracy card, people that are out in fields all the time, that you're out adventuring, you're walking miles and miles between cities and towns, you're going to get brown. You're going to be in the sun, you're going to get tan, but also the world is a big place. Ideally, if your world setting and your world building is not homogenous, you should have people who are dark skin. You should have people who have different language. You should have people who have different food. And if your world cannot be as diverse as the world you actually live in, even though people want to act like they don't, it will not do anything to go, hey, the people from this area in my world or in D&D, or, I'm a big Dragon Age nerd like Antiva or Ravane or Minrathous, when they're in the games, they are brown because, surprise, there are areas where people live in a tropical climate and they are just naturally brown skinned because, hey, they're out in the sun or there is a lot of sun. And I think it's important because, again, if you can accept fantasy tropes, if you can accept dragons and orcs and elves, you can accept that there are brown people living in this world because you accept magic. You accept that magic exists at the table. You accept that people can come back from the dead, that there are liches and all this other stuff. You accept that the Fey realm exists. So all of that is within your realm of acceptance, but somehow, someone being black is just a step too fucking far. Then I'm sorry, you need to go get a grip. Go outside. And one important thing that happened with Rivals and also with Black Dice is that the visibility of our shows and getting to do them at cons, getting to be out there, getting to do other stuff, is that people who thought that they didn't belong saw themselves reflected in what we did. And again, Rivals was not intentionally set up to be an all POC cast. It was, the design and the conceit was to show anyone can learn to play D&D 5th edition because we had people from all experience levels on the cast. And so we've had people come up and go, I didn't think people like us, I didn't think that we did stuff like this, because I'm sure you've seen this, and I know I've experienced it, where people go, oh, D&D, that's some white people shit, or playing tabletop, that's some white people shit. And it's usually, that's an experience because, again, the hobby ain't cheap. And depending on where you live, if you don't have a game store, you don't have access to these things, and I am pre-Amazon. I am pre-being able to click a button and have books at my doorstep within 1 to 2 days. So if you didn't have friends that were playing this, if you didn't have other people who looked like you and made you feel welcome, you didn't know that these whole brand new worlds could exist. You didn't know that you could go be a hero, you could be a paladin, a ranger, or anything like that. So the visibility that we now have thanks to the internet, thanks to actual plays, thanks to conventions, where you can go and watch a live play of something, it is so important, because even now we still have to fight people who think you shouldn't cosplay if you're black, or this character ain't black, this character's not this. To be serious for a moment, content warning, talking about suicide, there was a young lady who took her life who was a cosplayer because she got bullied so badly. And now she's a bright light that's snuffed out because people are just fucking racist. And not like our show was like this beacon of light and this is what we're doing and this is our whole purpose. But if just one person could see other brown-skinned folks on a stage, or see us on YouTube, or see us on Twitch, and realize I too can be part of the fantasy, I too can run a table, or I have a seat at the table. Even if you got to go make your own table, even if it's just with other brown and black folks, you too can enjoy this. This does not have to exclude you. And if you are finding people who are exclusionary, if you are finding people who don't want you there and say, well, you can't be a paladin, because up until 5th edition, the paladin was always a blonde, blue-eyed white dude in the source books. It wasn't until 5th edition when we got a dark-skinned brown woman in proper armor, and it made me feel like I could be part of this world. So not just the source books, but seeing people playing and, more importantly, enjoying and finding that camaraderie in storytelling it's essential. I wouldn't say just important. It is essential.
I think also the pushback, I mean, if we're really gonna get into it, the pushback of, because, I mean, the pendulum was swinging in a great fucking way up until a certain point in the United States, and unfortunately, it's swinging backwards, and people are very brazen in what they're willing to fucking say online. And it's like, hey buddy, maybe you should just be quiet. Let people enjoy themselves. Let people cosplay the characters that they want to cosplay. Let people play the games they want to play. Let them tell the stories they want to tell. If it doesn't bother, if it's not hurting you, like physically hurting you, if it's not going to, be a detriment to your life, just click next. Just say, I don't like this content, and move the fuck on.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, and this is one thing where I blame both the prevalence of the internet has made people very, very brave behind a keyboard, but also the pandemic. And in the sense of, we were locked in, we were home, and people forgot how to interact with other fucking human beings. The internet has not always been a great place, especially if you're not a cis straight white dude, but it has gotten so exponentially worse. I was actually talking about this with a friend earlier, where the wild shit that people will say to you behind the safety of a keyboard and behind the safety of their account, and it's like, you probably don't think you'll ever run into me in person, or you just feel like, well, I've got a big mouth, I've got a big audience, or what have you, and there's just no accountability for saying things. This is going to probably make me sound like a terrible person, but I miss the days when you could mollywop somebody for talking sideways to you, because there's no accountability. People will say wild shit to you, and they know full well they will probably never see you in real life. They will not say this. They won't get up at a convention Q&A and say this. They'll say it in a Twitch chat. They'll say it on Instagram. They'll say it on Blue Sky. and the deviltry that is whatever we're calling it this week, aka Twitter. But the prevalence of thinking I have a mic and an opinion, therefore I must speak, is part of the problem. And also platforming people who are not good people, they're just loud. They say the right things in the right tone enough and loud enough, and people go, oh, but you're right, you're saying the things that nobody wants to say. You're saying what people are afraid to say. You're telling it like it is. And they somehow gain an audience and gain traction. And then we discover, those of us that don't pay attention, oh, you were a piece of shit all along. And, you know, like, for example, when Rivals debuted, we were on the WotC D&D, we were on the D&D Twitch channel. And we all had mod swords. And granted, we were in a studio and we were in a position where we could see things and we could work with managing the chat if we wanted. And there were people who, A, would backseat us a lot because, oh no, brown people, surely you don't know how to play D&D. I've been playing D&D probably longer than some of you have been alive. And secondly, people are very brazen because, again, they're behind a screen. We had one of our newer folks decide that he wanted to try DMing. Had only been playing through the show. And he decided he wanted to try DMing because we wound up doing a rotating DM thing. There was someone in chat who said literally that our show would benefit from an experienced DM. And this is what would make it better. And they mentioned a very famous white woman. Now keep in mind, this is the season where it happened to be all black people. And if you go back, you can see the moment on my face and you can see my hand quickly go to ban this person because it's the assumption that because we're people of color, clearly we don't know anything about D&D. Clearly we have no experience. We don't know what we're doing. And the audacity to sit there and say that a show that is now known for not just being a flagship of 5e, but also known for being an all POC cast, that our show would elevate if we brought in a white woman DM. Fuck the entire way off.
That's... Also, I miss the days of being able to just punch a motherfucker in the face. Like,
right?
This is totally off topic. I saw a video of somebody getting their ass whooped after threatening somebody online. Like, it was two, like, probably high school kids, maybe they're like late teens. And this girl, internet fighting. They thought, oh, I can just like bark in this person's face. Like, you know, whatever. I can just get in this person's face and they won't do anything. Not knowing that this girl full on MMA fought them and just was flipping them around and just full on whacking them upside the head and then whacked another person and another person. I was like, see? Some people would just learn from getting their head bashed in sometimes. Not bashed in, but like bopped. Just,
oh yeah,
like a slight bop.
But here's the thing: you never know, because that woman that went and tracked down the guy 3 hours from her that said all the racist stuff,
Oh,
and showed up at his job.
Wild.
And it was like, but also, and this is going to sound bad, but a lot of the racists aren't bright people.
Yeah.
Like, they put their whole name...
Bigots don't know how to use their brains properly.
Well, no, they put their whole name, they got their job, they got their whole life out there and say all of this stuff, and then they're surprised when the internet turns into CSI on them. And it's like, but you said what you said. Is this not you? And there was a series. Exactly. There was, before we get too far off topic, but this, I have to find it. But there was a dude, I forget, he was a professional athlete, and there was a guy who talked all kind of shit. Was like, oh, I could beat him, I could do better than him. He found where the guy worked, rolled up on him at work, and he literally held up his phone, was like, is this you? Did you not say this? And then the guy was like, no, I was just messing around. He's like, you don't know me like that. You don't know me at all. And
You should have just kept it with you should have said it with your whole chest. If you're gonna say it at all, you say it with your whole chest. Hey, sometimes people learn from getting hit. Just take one for the team. Just get hit in the face once.
Yeah, and before anyone clutches their pearls, I'm not advocating just violence for the sake of violence. But there are some times Well, and people have said plenty of sideways shit to me. I've gotten death threats. I've gotten rape threats. And I have had, oh yeah, and it wasn't even about tabletop stuff. It was when I was doing games journalism. And there were people that, okay, because I'm just going to say it, Nintendo fanboys are a whole frightening separate breed of weird. Because there was someone who kept trying to get me to come on their podcast so they could debate me about my opinion. And the thing is, it wasn't even an opinion about the game. All I said was, it's kind of weird how the one brown character has weird hair in this game. And you would have thought I told them, go jump off a bridge, that I called him mama out the name. And that was my lesson of, it'd be your own people. And two, some people really need to go outside. And this was way before the pandemic. This was way before the internet was as bad as it is now. And this was like deranged people who, they were kind of the advent, because I really think Gamergate was the advent of, well, I've got an opinion, I can get online and post whatever I want, because there were no real repercussions. And again, keyboard warriors, we see it all day, every day. And I know that I could totally get on a whole other topic with this, but it's one of those things of, the keyboard warriors are there, and they don't seem to understand that, one, nobody gives a fuck about your opinion. Literally. No one asked you. It was like, well, you put it on the internet, I have a right. I'm like, you do have a right to respond. I have a right to also say fuck off and not listen to you. Or, should I see you in person, we can have words. Because these same people will never do this in person. They will not roll up on you. But they are sure brave behind a screen name and a keyboard.
That's why most of the time whenever I'm in drag at an event, I'm like, I want somebody to say something, please. I'm a big scary drag queen right now. Do you want to have a clown in your face? Because I will be that one person that will be rude. Well, okay, so on the inverse, there is, I mean, I think it's really ramped up since the pandemic, with everybody just being inside and forgetting how to act in general. The parasociability in the creator space.
Oh boy.
I think I try not to be too bad, because I'm like, I just want to support people. Hey, I saw you're going here. Great. I can't wait to see you. That's it. I try not to make it sound weird, because I'm like, hey, just, if we see each other, we see each other. This is my face, whatever. If we don't run into each other, which happens a lot.
Yeah, but there's also, it's hard because, like, on the one hand, yes, but there are some people, you know, we were chatting before we started recording about how, like, you mentioned you're doing a thing, and then people spring into action with either their opinion on where you're going, or unasked for travel tips, or, oh my God, I wish I could go, or I'm jealous that you're going. And it's like, I'm going to do work. I'm not going for a vacation. Because if I was going on a vacation, y'all aren't going to know. Because some of y'all are really weird and want to know way too much about people's lives. Like, you can't take a break and go be a human. But there's also this weird expectation of, well, maybe I'm a Twitch sub, maybe I'm a Patreon supporter. And it's like, because I give you $5 or $10 a month, I own your free time. Or I know you. And that's the core of what's wrong with parasocialism, is people see you perform in drag, or they see you online, or they listen to the podcast, so they feel like they know you. Or in the case of Twitch streaming or YouTube videos, because I've sat and listened to you for so many hours, or I watch you and I virtually get to hang out with you, there's this idea that we're now friends. And it's this superficial shell that needs to be cracked, because there are too many people who feel like, well, I know them, they're a good person, they're whatever. And it's like, you know them in air quotes, from the 2 to 3 hours you watch their stream, or the hour you listen to this episode of their podcast, etc. But there's also just this idea of, I want to be in your orbit, I want to be in your space. And it's like, I'm an introvert. I don't know if people know this. After I've gone, I've done my thing at the con, I'm usually in my room or I'm with my select group of friends. And this isn't I'm better than anyone. This is my group. These are the people I want to see. And I don't even always talk to them. I have infamously ghosted people. Not ghosted, that sounds bad. I have infamously just been like, I paid for my drink and I left. And I'll get a text, where did you go? To my room. I am peopled out. I am done. Goodbye.
Especially at cons where you're working and you're like part of panels or you're putting on events or like you just had a bunch of people in your face in general over the whole day. Sometimes you're like, I don't want to lobby con right now. It'd be great. I will boot and rally if I have to. But there's a threshold and I'm going to be like, all right, I've met it. And I know that with like drag, it's like most of the time LobbyCon, unless I'm going straight from a panel, I will be out of drag. Because one, I'm going to be so uncomfortable by the time LobbyCon happens, which if you don't know what LobbyCon is, it's just a thing that happens after the regular con happens, and it's usually at some hotel. But it starts like 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and I'm like, I don't want to have contacts in my face. My makeup is itching my face right now. I would like to just relax. I want to get out of this corset. And like most of the time I'm in a corset and it's very uncomfortable to sit down in a corset. And if I'm hunched over playing Magic with people that I know, I'm like, hey guys, let me just full on man spread over here, just like dealing cards and like talking to people and like walking around. It's not the vibe half the time for me.
Yeah, and comfort's paramount, especially, and I don't think people realize that too, is like there's also the right time, right place, where like PAX Unplugged, saw people, they're like, I follow them online. I am very cognizant. I do not actually know these people, but I'm a fan and follower of their work. Like, hey, nice to meet you. Can we get a photo? And then I go about my business because they too have been on all day. They too have probably had people in their face and at a far greater rate than I ever want in my life. But it's very odd. It's very strange to me, but I think that comes from the micro-celebrity of being online, the micro-celebrity that people have cultivated around watching actual plays, watching and listening to podcasts, watching streams, or watching people's YouTube content, especially with YouTube, because I feel like it's very passive, and it can feel very calming to know someone's voice, to listen to them do whatever, or talk about whatever, because most of the time with podcasts, you can listen and do other things, unless it's video. And it's just this very odd and off-putting phenomenon of the last, I'd say maybe 10 years, of thinking because I follow/support someone, I watch their content. Because we've seen, I'm sure you've seen this too, where there are people who never miss a stream. They never miss a podcast. As soon as it's out, they've listened and they're the first one to comment. And it's like, my guy, do you have anything else to do? Not that you don't want the support, but it's like, are you okay? Do you have other stuff going on in your life where this is your entertainment? And it's just, it weirds me out. And that's why I know there are people who think, well, you're just off. You have walls up. You have whatever. Yes, because I don't want to die because some parasocial weirdo decided that I hate them.
And we've seen it in like actual celebrity culture of like people just at events getting shot
and stabbed,
dying,
or
stabbed, or somebody tried to kidnap them. It's fully happened within the past couple of years. Like, why would we want to? I'm like, hey, there's a reason why I do not have my full name out on the internet anymore. Like, unless it's just my personal Facebook, because one, I've been doxxed. Full-on doxxed in my own Twitch chat, and I had somebody threaten me in my Facebook DMs about, they're like, I don't believe that you're this or this. I'm going to report you. I'm going to, I'm like, brother, you don't know me. don't come in my face. One, don't get in my face like that. Two, who are you? Are you the police? Are you the FBI? You don't know me. Trust me. I made the joke, and I feel like a lot of people will probably take this really weirdly. I made the joke on Blue Sky of Texas is giving away their voter rolls to the federal government or to ICE or whatever. And I was like, oh, great, another government watch list that I'm going to be part of. And it's more a joke to myself that I just wanted to put out there. Because I've been known by the federal government since I was 19 years old. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, hey, whatever. that's the perks of being in the military, I guess. It's just like, the government will know me for the rest of my life. But it's, I think a lot of people will look at that and be like, who are you? I'm like, I'm just a weirdo on the internet, people.
Yeah, well, conversely, there's also, and I don't know if you've experienced this, hopefully you have not, the people that will come up and act like they're, like you are just so important, they can't bother you. Or it's just like, oh my God, it's you. Is it okay if I talk to you? And I'm like, I'm just a regular ass person. I am no more important than anyone else in this room. And this weird pedestaling of people. And that's also part of the parasocial thing. Because we were chatting a bit before recording. And this idea that you are somehow above / that you are someone to be held up, you're this paragon or whatever, when literally you just have more visibility than the next person. That's literally all it is.
I will say this right now. I should never be anyone's, like, if somebody's like, you're my idol, I'm like, I should never be anyone's idol. Ooh. I'm like, the one time that I was like, it's okay, is I recently adopted somebody as a drag child. Mm-hmm. Like, they got into burlesque, they're wanting to do drag, and like, I've met them online, I've met them in person too. We, interact with each other's content, but they're like, I admire the work that you do, and they're like, you're the reason why I got into burlesque. I was like, oh, thank you, please, yes, oh, amazing. But outside of that, people, I don't mind if people come up to me, just if you say your name, it'd be like, we've met before. I'm like, your face doesn't look familiar. I apologize. And it's the same with anybody. Like, unless we've interacted a lot and I know your face a lot, I'm going to be like, I need your name again. I'm sorry. And that's not me trying to be rude. That's just me with a bad memory.
Well,
and also the pedal sting.
Their name at all.
Oh yeah, I'm on the pedal sting thing as well. It's whenever I talk to other people in the space, most of the time it's like, hey, I think you're amazing. Hopefully I get to talk to you soon. I'm gonna go. I'm like, I see you're talking to people. Hey, you're cool. It's Shelly Von Miller. We've met online. Bye. That's it. It's just like, hey, if we bump into each other again, whatever.
No, but I feel like that is a good way to go about it, because so 1 year at PAX West, and this isn't me like bragging, but like I've gotten to know some of the Baldur's Gate folks, and Sam Bayart was out there, like, came on their own dime, came out and like was at PAX East, PAX West last year. And we had that experience, except the person did that to me. And I'm like, but Sam's right here. Like, I'm not the famous person, but they got to see this in real time of someone coming and going, oh my God, it's you. I follow you and I'm going to go. And I'm like, you stop to say hello. That means something to me. Because again, I have no delusions of grandeur. I don't think I'm this super important person, because that way lies hubris. If anyone ever catches me acting like that, you have my permission to slap me, because that means I've turned into an alien. But
body snatcher.
Seriously, I am a pod person if I start acting like that. But it's like this whole, And again, I think it's the, roll into the micro celebrity aspect, the, oh my God, you've been around Matt Mercer, therefore I'm going to put you on this pedestal. And it's like, nah, I'm just saying, one of my friends has a saying, she's like, I put on my bra one tit at a time, so I'm just like you. And and whenever people do that to me, I'm like, I'm gonna stop you right there. I am a human. We both have red blood. Let's just act like normal ass people, please.
That I love that saying. I'm gonna write that down in my journal. It's like quote of day. I put my bra on one tit at a time. Yeah. That's amazing. Well, okay, so on the TTRPG space and the actual play space, I mean, Rivals of Waterdeep, Black Dice Society. We've had B.A. Walters on the podcast before. Yeah. Whenever he's like, yeah, I'll be on the podcast, that's whenever I was like, cool. Amazing. I'm gonna just freak out and go, ah. But like also whenever you said, oh yeah, I'm like, yes. But it's mostly because I admire y'all's work. I think Rivals of Waterdeep and Black Dice Society were like, and I mean also Critical Role were some of the first actual plays I watched because they had the visibility. So I was just like, oh yeah, let me hop in here and, and people, I mean, I eventually got onto TTRPG Twitter and people just, putting their links and everything like that. I'm like, oh, great. Like, and then if I vibed there, I'm like, oh, these people streamed? Great. And I was getting into my streaming, just starting streaming and everything like that. I'm like, cool, I'm going to follow them. I'm going to watch their streams. And it's mostly because I was like, I just vibe. That's it. I like that. How did you get into the actual play space? You said it, like, that you got invited to do that 5e kind of video, but how did that migrate to actual play?
Well, when Greg invited us, he had a show. He was starting a official wizard show, and we premiered a stream of Any Eyes that year. And, we were under contract to do a season and then another season and then another season. And we got from levels 3 to 20 on Rivals. Our last 2 seasons we had to crowdfund because, as we saw, WotC stopped backing shows and stopped having shows on their Twitch channel. But that was where it came in. And then after Rivals was out and getting more known, I got asked to do like charity streams here and there. Actually did some Star Trek for a charity stream, or was it Roll? It was either Roll20Con or it was a charity stream. Friend asked me to DM Dragon Age, and that was just fun because I'm a big Dragon Age nerd. I got to basically DM my fanfic of Dragon Age. For those that don't know, I am a massive Dragon Age fan. Dragon Age 2 is my favorite. Fight me. I don't care. Fight me in the street. Meet me outside if you want about it. Fenris is my absolute favorite Dragon Age character. And we did like 2 seasons of that. And then, I've had various home games, other stuff like that. And I enjoy the performing aspect of it. And, when B-Day was putting together Black Dice, he reached out because we had worked together. We collabed on, Motherlands. He's our lead developer. And, and I had also done Vampire the Masquerade. I done one-on-one with B-Day for VTM, and I'd never played VTM. And now I'm ruined because my first and best experience playing vampires with B-Day Walters. Rivals was the first and longest running, and then Black Dice. And what I loved about Black Dice is I got to be bad. I got to be an evil character. I got to step out of the dim light of being a Broken Oath paladin with Celise, and I got to be a little bad. I got to be a little like rude and roguish and flirty, because didn't plan it that way, but my character wound up being in a romance with one of the major NPCs of our campaign, so it worked out. And yeah, I would love to do another actual play, but I believe in paying people fairly for their time, and since I'm not made of money, and I'm sure you've experienced this, a lot of people are like, pay people what they're worth until the bill comes due. I tried to fund a Dragon Age RPG show on my channel, and we just couldn't get traction, couldn't get the funding. Because, fun fact, you should pay people what they're worth. And for most shows I've been on, we were getting like $150, $200 an hour. You know, and again, those were official shows. And a lot of people don't want to pay people for their time. They want, you know, a 4-hour show, but they don't want to pay you the equivalent of 4 hours. And as I'm sure you know, 4 hours on screen does not equate to just 4 hours of your time. It's more like 6 to 8 hours of your time in one shot. So until or unless I ever get in a position where I can pay people fairly, I probably won't be running an actual play. But, you know, I do enjoy it. It is a little stressful because I have a bit of anxiety about being on camera because I've changed a lot since Rivals and Black Dice were on, and did have a bad experience. Well, it was someone in the chat that decided to ask if the ogre was part of the cast, referring to me. Oh yeah. I don't know if you all. I'm just going to describe the look on Shelly's face as what in the entire fuck. But yeah, so I've got a lot of anxiety about being on camera. That's why I often don't have my camera on when I'm streaming just games, unless I'm doing a just chatting stream, and that is very few and far between because of that anxiety. But something about stepping into make-believe, stepping into the shoes of a character helps me mitigate that. And again, I know that the visibility is important. I know that being seen and letting other people of color, other femmes, other folks see that you exist and you can tell stories, you can collaborate. Because at the end of the day, everyone should be having fun. It should be enjoyable. And you can do that on an actual play. But I hope people understand there's a very different vibe to a finite amount of time on screen in an actual play. If it's a 2, 3, even 4-hour show versus we're on Discord just kicking it and hanging out, and we're going to take a break to order pizza, or somebody needs to go walk their dog, so we're going to take a 20-minute break so they can go walk their dog. And it's great, and I think it helps people. It helps people get into it, but also I need people to understand just doing an AP does not mean you're about to be the next Critical Role. I need folks to understand this.
Yeah, as much as I would love to, you know, have projects that I've been on, you know, shoot to that success, I don't think anybody is ready for that amount of success. I don't even think, and I think they've mentioned this before, I don't think they were ready for that much success, because it was just like, oh no. Mm-hmm. And I've seen the crowd that launches onto Matt Mercer in public whenever he's in a space, and I'm like, I feel so bad for that man, because you could tell he is not very comfortable, or at least from far away. That's what I'm observing. I'm not putting that on him, but that is merely observation. It's just like, yes.
That's when you're like, oh, now I see why you're always in cosplay. Now I see why.
Yeah, I think that as somebody who also puts on a costume to deal with social anxiety, because hey kids, just to let you know, I'm an introvert. Whenever I put on the drag, I become a character. That Shelly is a character. She is different from the person that I actually am.
Introverts unite separately.
Yes, separately, online, in a Discord call. Thank you. But, I mean, on the note of paying people, I think it's become a thing, unless you're one of, like, a big project, or like a big studio, or you have backing from whatever business, that it actual play is free labor.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as we want to make money in the space, a lot of it will continue to be free labor.
Mm-hmm.
What, I guess, how do you broach the making sure that people, not compensated, but people aren't taken advantage of for their free labor, whether it's on the production side or in like behind or in front of the camera?
I think, if you want to do a show, if you want to do this and you're doing it for the love of whatever game you're running, is being upfront and understanding that, you may get a no if someone says even if they want to, maybe they don't have the time. Because again, not all of us have the same 24 hours, despite what fitness influencers try to tell us. I think just being very upfront of, hey, I'd really love to run, Pathfinder. I'd love to do it on a stream. And I'm just going to be upfront. I like you. I'd love to roll dice with you. However, this will not be paid unless we can figure out some model, or like if we do a Patreon or whatever. And that is a very slow ramp. So understanding that you're probably going to get a no if someone is not in a position to do free labor of love, but also doing a vibe check of who do you know that also streams, that might just want to have a friendly game, but they know this is not paid work. Now, if you are coming from a studio or something, or you want to do an activation, then you should be there with money and a contract and everything else. But when it's friends, and an actual friends, not the I follow you online, therefore I think you're a friend. Or if you do want a person when you don't actually know, just be upfront. Hey, I'm putting together an AP. It's a more for fun, personal project. Would love it if you could join. Understand if you can't. And just be upfront with, here's the time commitment. I either want to spend a full day recording a bunch of episodes and then we'll edit it, or every other week on X channel, we're going to have a 2-hour session. And, between sessions, I might ask you for, a check-in, like a 20-minute check-in or something. And as for behind the scenes, if there's someone that can produce, that's great, and it amps up the quality of your actual play, because being someone who is both on screen and producing at the same time sucks. Let me just tell you, I've done it. It is not fun. But again, it's being upfront of, hey, I don't have the skill set to do this. I want to do this fun thing. And I think being upfront instead of acting like, oh, well, we'll just put any tips that we earn toward everyone on the show, because that's not constant. It's probably not going to be worth what someone could normally charge. Also, a note, if you're going to try to be a paid TTRPG performer, have a rate sheet and stop undercharging. There were people, as we were actually putting together Motherlands, and I was able to give a decent amount per episode because we had funding from Twitch. And there were a couple people where I said, here's what we can pay you. Or I asked, what is their rate? And then they gave me these $30 an hour. And I was like, what? I'm asking not just for 2 hours of on-screen time, but a half hour before, a half hour after, and then whatever prep time we need in between. And that's all you want? No, we pay real money here. So I think it's being upfront about whether or not you can pay, or if you are trying to pay people, be upfront about where's your funding coming from. Are you planning to run a Kickstarter? Do you have a Patreon? Are you going to run a GoFundMe? However you plan to get this money in your pocket to pay people, and also sit down and have a budget. Shout out to DC Lasser, who has talked about this, and he actually runs a really great seminar at Gen Con. I don't know if he's going to do it this year, but on on actual play production. So also go out there and learn from people. learn what it takes, because let me tell you, editing audio, slicing together things, if something goes wrong, someone's mic drops, what have you, understand the time commitment versus the amount of time that you would get paid if this was a day job. So understand that you gotta love this. You gotta love wanting to entertain. You gotta love wanting to do stuff for free or for very little cost. And sometimes paying money out of pocket, because somebody's got to pay to host the podcast. If you make a podcast version, somebody's got to do that. So who's fronting the $30-$40 a month to wherever you're hosting? Who's editing it? Because we didn't think about a podcast version about Rivals until people asked for one.
Yeah, I will say this right now. Podcasting and editing, as somebody who does the everything for everything I do, I was able for a little bit to pay somebody to help me edit, like VODs and stuff like that, and other videos. I would gladly have anybody help me edit. I would be like, how much? I will pull the money together, please. It is not that, it gets a lot. But okay, on that note of Into the Motherlands and Twitch funding y'all's actual play, I mean, what's your origin story with writing TTRPGs? Because you're a writer outside of games in general, but how did you get into that space, and what did that look like at first?
I'm trying to think. I want to say the folks at Pathfinder and Green Ronin gave me a shot at doing like little bits of writing here and there. Some of it was DEI consulting, like Omen's World Guide was basically like, let's not fuck up our version of Africa. And, you know, and worked along with someone we no longer shall name. But that was kind of the gateway of doing little bits here and there, and then going, hey, you know, are you hiring or are you looking for contractors? All of my work's been contract in the tabletop space outside of Motherlands. And it's like, here's what I can bring to the table. Or, you know, during the short time of frame that people actually cared about diversity, it seems like, that would be the, oh, I'm going to get the tap on the shoulder because, oh yeah, we want to have Black characters, but we don't want to fuck it up. Or we wrote this, now please look it over and tell us whether or not it's okay. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. So some of that work was also just editing and clearing up what people had done and going, I know you thought you were doing something here, but actually let's not. And then I've always loved writing. I always wanted to be a writer as a kid, as a teenager. I have quite a bit of fan fiction out there. I have no shame in it. Lots of Dragon Age fanfic. And yes, it's on AO3. You can go find it. But I will tell you it is all spicy. Because I started writing on the kink beam. And, but yeah, that love of worlds, that love of fantasy, because I've always loved fantasy and sci-fi. You know, like, I got to see the original Star Trek film in the theater. I got to see, you know, the original Star Wars trilogy in the theater. And other worlds, other ways of existing, especially in a world that does not like for me to exist, has always been my gateway into my very overactive imagination.
That's amazing. So, I mean, and you've also, on the note of kickstarting projects, you've also dealt with Kickstarters with your own projects. Yeah. What are some things that you've learned from those projects that you're like, if somebody asked me how to kickstart a project, this is what I have to make sure that they know beforehand?
My knee-jerk reaction would be like, don't go do anything else. But, well, because there are not good tools for moderation on Kickstarter. You know, the day that we launched Motherlands, we were very fortunate. We funded 90 minutes. But when we also announced and launched, we had people that were being racist twats. And we had someone who actually works for a major TTRPG house across the pond decide that he needed to save the reputation of these poor POC, and that he had never heard of any of us, and he didn't know who these people were, and that this is just going to hurt the reputation of people of color in TTRPGs. Turns out he had not watched the video, had not heard anything about our actual play, did not know anything about anyone involved in the project. And keep in mind, we have B. Dave Walters, we have Jasmine Bular, we have all of these people that are very well known, tied to the project, and, you know, other people vouching for us. And, or when people, or, you know, just people who decided that they wanted, again, to say something. And so it became well, where's the white characters? Where's this? Where's that? And it was like, first off, you can go make your own shit. Also, there's 50 years of TTRPGs for you to go play, where if you just gotta have white people, there's no dearth of white people focused tabletop. Please go find that instead. But I would say have someone manage it, have someone who can put it together, because again, shout out to B. Dave, he did all of the work on putting together the actual Kickstarter page and campaign. But have someone who can be a layer of separation between you and the backers. And it's going to sound bad, and people are probably going to get mad about it whenever they hear this. I have not met that level of entitlement outside of Twitter in my life. Well, there are people who are like, well, and I think this also is because people treat Kickstarter as a store versus a way to fund an idea now. People have mostly finished product, Kickstarted to do that last push, and so then people expect a very quick turnaround. They want to treat it like Amazon, and it's not. But also just be very aware of what is it you're offering. Have a fallback plan. Because, you know, like in our case, it feels like we're cursed, literally, because it took a while to get a publisher, and then that publisher decided 2 weeks before the manuscript was due to get entirely out of publishing TTRPGs. And then we also were going to use an already built system, already known, and the licensing deal they offered us was bullshit. It would have taken 1/3 of our profits from the Kickstarter. So I don't know what they thought was going to come out with wanting that much money just to license it for 3 years. And then, you know, having to get another publisher, and then the pandemic, and. Just everything that could go wrong with this project has gone wrong. And now it costs the earth, and there's tariffs, and we got to figure out what we can still deliver, what we can't deliver. You know, and at the very least, people have a quick start. The dice exist. They're in a warehouse. We know they exist, and other stuff will be made. But now it's like, do we spend the money to still get stuff made if it didn't get a lot of backers? Or do we cancel things like maybe if there were only 20 of something requested, do we still spend that money? Because the less of something you have to make, the more it actually costs you to make it and ship it. And also, the biggest thing I would say is be very limited on your physical rewards, especially in an era of tariffs and not knowing where you're going to get things manufactured and what it's going to cost you and how much shipping costs. Overestimate on everything. It's better to overestimate and ask for too much, because fees will eat up your profit as well. And by profit, I mean the money that is going to sit in the bank until you pay everyone, because you should be paying your writers, your artists, everything else. And just understand that there's not going to be money that really goes in your pocket when you make a Kickstarter. It's going to come in and go right back out to produce whatever it is that you're kickstarting. And if you do all digital goods and you're just paying for that, great. You still need to pay people fairly. You still need to spend money on advertising. So we actually spent a little bit on advertising through Backer Kit. And so you have to pay for that. You have to pay the 5 and 10% fees that Kickstarter nickels and dimes you with. So overestimate how much everything costs. Limit your physical rewards. And have someone who can be a line of defense between you and the backers. And I know that sounds terrible, but I've had people send me real nasty messages, try to track me down on my personal Facebook, show up in my Twitch chat. Oh, yeah. Someone sent me a very long screed through Facebook, because you can still at least try to send a message, even if you're not friends. And for me, that's my line of like, I understand if people are upset. I understand if they don't want the book whenever it comes out. But my personal spaces are my line. there's an email you can post on, you can reply on Kickstarter. We have a Discord still there. Nobody's closed it down. And we've been as transparent as we can. And I'm like, I have even showed a screenshot of the bank balance. And people still are like, well, this is a scam. And I'm like, do you see the screenshot? That money's not going anywhere. That money's been sitting there. And then once we pay for printing and shipping, that's probably going to be zero and or negative number by the time we're done. So understand that some people are just not going to support you. And the people that are going to be nasty and rude online, we're never going to back your project. And sadly, you can't just block people on Kickstarter. There's no good moderation tools. That is my biggest gripe. But BackerKit now offers basically all the stuff Kickstarter does, and it's a bit more robust. So I would say, no shade to Kickstarter is what we used, but there are other options just beside Kickstarter or crowdfunding or whatever you're going to do. But understand, you're going to have a lot of work. It will become a full-time job while it's running. You have to do updates. You have to thank people. You have to do whatever. And know that this is going to consume your life from the moment you hit go live with that Kickstarter until it ends. And
it's not even the end of the campaign. It's like when things are finally in somebody's hand and it's all done. Mm-hmm. It's like, because I've backed a few projects and it's just like, people are like, where's the project? I'm like, I'll get it when I'll get it. I don't care. I was like, I backed it because I thought it was a great project. I can't wait to, utilize it however I utilize it. And people are like, hey, I have a life. I have a full-time job. And I'm like, good. I'm glad you have a full-time job and you're not relying on this as your money. And like you're paying people to like write things or do the art. Because guess what? I'll get it when I get it. Maybe I'm one of those people that I'm like, whatever, I don't know. I'm sure a project takes forever sometimes, especially if you're a small team. But I think the people who have been on like kickstarting projects for a while are probably like, I want this within the year. And I'm like, that's not how this works. That's not even how a novel works.
No. Well, and again, I think it comes back to a lot of people now treat Kickstarter like a store versus what it's supposed to be, which is to get funding to make your thing. Where I've got an idea, I would like X to exist, however, I don't have the money for X to exist, therefore I'm coming to you with a proof of concept, and hopefully X can exist in 1 to maybe 5 years. And there have been Kickstarters I've backed that have been super late. I didn't go out there and act like another bitch because it's not here. Like, I think even the Critical Role Kickstarter was late. So it's like, and for me, it's like, cool. It's a present to myself from past me. I forgot I backed this. Like, I got a shipping notice the other day, and I'm like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Kickstarter. I don't know. It'll get here when it gets here.
It's like, you get it in the July. It's like, it's Christmas in July. It's the holidays. It's a birthday present that you forgot about, and that's okay. And people are probably gonna be like, well, that's a little high and mighty that you're just throwing away your money like that. I'm like, I'm not throwing away my money on somebody's great idea that I want to get. I just don't expect them to be on my schedule.
Yeah, and
there's a difference.
Yeah, and also people treat it like retail customer service.
Oh,
there'd be people who would message all hours and then be mad. It's like, I sleep. I don't know what time it is for you, but I sleep. Not lately, but I'm not answering emails at 2 a.m. If I'm up and replying at 2 a.m, something is real wrong.
Yeah, obviously something is not going great right now.
Well, and the last part too is, I think some people do just get in over their head. They have a grand idea, and either they don't request enough money, or things cost more than they realize. Have a realistic idea of what things cost, and then add 30 or 40% to whatever that is. Because at the end of the day, you are expected to give a product, give whatever, but also people seem to forget that they check the box before they hit back this project, that they understand there is a chance this project may never happen. Not what I'm saying is happening with Motherlands, because we just got our comic pages back from Domo. They look dope. But there are sometimes projects don't happen. They get canceled or life happens. Like I lost my day job. So my focus for the last year has been finding another day job of some kind or some way to support myself. And the book will happen, but I need to keep a roof over my head. Because if I don't have a roof over my head, ain't no book happening. End of the day. And I think people forget that the folks they're backing, the folks they're supporting are people. And I think that's the crux of a lot of what we talked about, is that you are not a person to some people. You are a persona. You are a thing to be consumed. And once you lose your humanity and personhood as being visible, being a part of a thing, that's when we get this all wild, out-of-pocket shit and behavior. And that's, again, that's the crux of it for me.
Yeah. Oh, this could be a whole panel at a con.
We've done that. We've actually, I keep submitting the Parasocial panel every year, and sometimes PAX take it, sometimes they don't.
Hey, you know what? And I will always be there. Like a weirdo. I'll just be like, yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And well,
agreed.
And what's funny is one year PAX Unplugged, it was a year that Matt was actually there, and they had my panel and his panel like within a half hour of each other. And it was our Parasocial panel specifically about tabletop. And I'm like, ooh, some of the people that should be in this room are probably next door. And I joked about it with him. He was like, well,
you're not wrong.
Well, but there's just people where it's like the people who need the message the most are not going to be the ones that unfortunately come to those panels.
Yeah, because they see it as just like this doesn't pertain to me, and I'll be like,
oh,
are you sure?
Calls coming from inside the house.
Are you sure? I mean, outside of all that, I mean, we're talking about TTRPGs. What kind of stories do you like to tell? What kind of stories do you like to write?
So, I actually like to get a little dark sometimes. I didn't get to do that too much on Rivals. But, like, when I write fan fiction, when I write campaigns, I like to get a little dark, I like to put a little danger into it. I've got a home Dragon Age RPG game going, and I asked my players, hey, how do you feel about character death? And they're like, what? I'm like, how do you feel about character death? And they're like, as long as it's for a reason and not just shock value. Because I actually had a major NPC nearly die on them, and it was kind of sort of canonical, but it was, I like going into dark themes. I'm not afraid to be like, there's trauma, but again, that is only if everyone is okay with it. Because I'm a firm believer in safety tools. You know, I always use the safety toolkit. I always use the tabletop consent form whenever I'm starting, even a one-shot, even a charity one-shot, I still will send out that form. And so I like to get a little darker when I can. If it's an ongoing campaign, we have time to explore those themes. But if it's a charity one-shot, I'm usually like, YOLO, fuck it, whatever happens, because we're here to have fun and raise money. And the wilder you get, usually the better the fundraising is. Of like, hey, y'all can donate for wild magic, or you can donate for whatever. And those are those times where it's like, you know what, I'm being loosey-goosey with the rules, we're just having fun. If you want to go do something that I know absolutely should not work, but it'll be great for the charity stream, or we're friends and we're just being silly, this is not recorded, it's just us on Discord or Zoom. Sometimes you just need to be silly. You've had a crappy day. You know what, I had a plan, but you know what, shopping episode, we're just going to go hang out. Or if somebody can't make it and we're down one or two players and we don't want to cancel, it's like, you know what, I actually did this with the Dragon Age home game. It was a pub crawl day because we had like 2 players out and everyone else was like, but I still want to play. So we just had a pub crawl episode, for lack of a better word. And it was silly fun. And it had nothing to do with the story we were telling, but it was lighthearted, it was fun, and we still got to hang out and roll dice. But in a longer running campaign, I like to get a little dark, a little nitty gritty, if that's appropriate for the system and if the players are cool with it. If not, I'm just like, cool, I kind of let the players drive the narrative and give me your character. Let's see what happens. And I see how they play. I see how they interact. And then I'm like, oh, that little story, that little tidbit in your backstory you thought no one paid attention to? Cool. Oh yeah, that's going to come back to bite you. Or they do sometimes I'll just be a little evil. Whenever I run my kaiju-sized goose charity one-shot, whenever they go to Avernus, because the conceit of it is you die, you have to go to Avernus and fight a kaiju-sized goose. And basically, if you beat the goose, you come back and you don't die. You come back to right before that. And I always send them to a tavern in Avernus. And without fail, somebody eats the food. And I'm like, oh, you're eating that. Okay. And then later it's like, hey, by the way, give me a Constitution saving throw. And they're like, why? I'm like, remember that food you ate in the tavern? You're like, yeah, you're in Avernus. And then you see the light bulb go on. I'm like, mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not going to stop them. I'm not going to warn them. Just like, you're hungry. Okay. You want to really have that beer or drink? Okay. Okay. And I just
go into more detail of what the food looks like. You see, steins overflowing with foamy beer, glistening ham, and just soups with all sorts of steam and vegetables, and just going into all the detail so it sounds just as good.
Or I ask, what's your favorite food? What's your character's favorite food? And I'm like, it's just like Mom used to make. It's delicious. It's right out the oven. Or it's like the best cake you've ever had in your life. You can't stop eating it. You've eaten like half the cake. Or I'll just ask, like, once again, are you sure you want to eat the food in this bar in Avernus? And if they don't pick up on the stress of me going, in Avernus, cool, enjoy. This is the best food you've ever had. You can't remember anything that was so good, so filling. And then just randomly, hey, can I get a Constitution saving throw? Or it's like, because I like to send them off in a vehicle given to them by Mad Maggie. Hey, that bump in the road, give me a Constitution saving throw to see if you just puke up everything you ate. You just ran over a pothole in Avernus, and it's worse. It's worse than Chicago winter potholes at that point.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, this is the part of the podcast where I say plug your shit, let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me everywhere as Cypher of Tears, CYPHER, CYPHEROFTYR. I had to think about how to spell my username. And then by the time this airs, I will actually have a podcast out that is not tabletop related at all, but me and longtime friend DeejayKnight, we actually started a podcast about our fitness journeys. We have two very separate roads to getting fit, and we're both nerdy. DJ was on Motherlands and on Black Dice with me, so we've been friends for over a decade. And we decided, we kind of joked about it, and it's like, nah, for real, let's do this. So our pod will be out and about, so hopefully, depending on time of day, you can go listen to it after you've listened to this. And then I stream on Twitch.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I'll make sure to link the podcast. That way everybody has a way to go to it. Well, you can find all the links for Tanya down below. Speaking of finding people on the internet, you can find me everywhere on the internet at Shelly Von Miller, to include Patreon, where you can get early access to the podcast if you're a free patron even. Jeez Louise. Or if you want to, throw some dollars my way because you want to just be like, hey, you're cool, I like the stuff that you make, but not be weird about it. Paid tiers start at $7 a month, and we're going to go record some of that exclusive content just now for a thing called Table Sets. With all that being said, I love you guys very much, and I will see you on the internet. Goodbye.